Yes, I
Hello,
am.
everyone. I am Olivia at Land in the Net here with Moira Cormack, which is my best worst attempt at her beautiful Scottish accent. Hello, Moira. Will you please introduce yourself? I'm so happy you are here.
Hello, Olivia. We are very well met, very surprisingly, and absolutely delightfully well met.
Yes.
So, my name is Moira Cormack, and I live outside Edinburgh. And I am a sex, love, and relationship coach. And I specialize in inner child work because everybody who wants better sex and relationships and more love is stuck when they haven't done their inner child work. So I've taken the early piece and made it my own.
Mm. Oh, this is so juicy. That's so true. We are so well met. Anyone here at Land in the Net who understands how play is so important to all of our development is going to be so just enriched and nourished with these programs you have coming up. And right off the bat, one thing that I think is so monumental that you're doing is tying sexuality to that inner child, because so many of us are taught those are two different worlds. So can you speak a little bit to that and how that magic alchemizes?
The way you say they're in different worlds, and it's we are broken up inside into different worlds that don't meet, so we don't have communication between our parts. And if you don't know who your inner child is appearing in the bedroom, and
Mm.
the two of you are going into the bedroom, and there are your inner child and all your different parts. There's your mother's voice and your father's voice, and there is your critical adult in the bedroom with you. Women are incredibly self-conscious in the bedroom. You know, the main thought is, do I look okay in this position?
Mhm,
Is
mhm.
my tummy hanging down?
That's a great way to take you out of intimacy.
It completely takes you out of intimacy. Exactly.
Mm.
So you need to say to your inner child, you need to know who they are. You need to have a relationship with them, because you cannot you cannot tell anybody what to do. You cannot look after somebody without love and compassion, because
Mm.
they won't hear you. If you are
Mhm.
not coming from love and compassion, they will just feel rejected. And generally, they feel rejected anyway. So you cannot say to them, get out of here. You can't come in the bedroom with me, you little scrappy toe rag. You can't do it. You can't do it. That's you have to say, I love you, darling, but you can't come
Um,
in the bedroom with me. Where would you like to play while I'm playing with?
mm. Oh, what a beautiful way of framing self-compassion, because I think we're in a place right now where people are reading self-help books and they have this idea of self-compassion, but it sounds like you are giving tools and techniques. So it's not just this random vague idea. Can
No.
you speak a little bit to how you guide people through this process?
Well, you have to come into your body. So um, you have to find all of these characters inside you, because they're there and they're frozen in time. Does anybody have like a teacher who told them they weren't going to be this or that? Well, your response to that teacher, if you got it when you were 14, that response is still 14 years old inside you. So you
Uh-huh.
have to go into your body, find that sensation that's 14-year-old and connect with it.
Mm.
And then you build. So you find, you talk, you're building relationships, you're building relationships inside you. And when you have those relationships, you can talk to them all, and then you can go into the bedroom.
All right. We could certainly talk about the philosophy behind this for so long. Will you tell us a little bit about this next program you have coming up so that people can get an idea of what is possible for them?
Okay, so the first thing that we're doing is we are doing some somatic practices to regulate your body, first of all. Then we're going to go in and find the wise adult and your own wise adult is totally unique to you. So it's not your mother or your father. There could be a divine goddess, there could be a blob, there could be a stag, there could be anything at all what your energy brings forth. And then you have your relationship with them. Once you've got your wise adult on board, you have somebody who can look after your inner child with you.
Oh, wow.
And then we go,
Okay, so that's first level. I
Yep.
love it. I'm already feeling so nourished and held.
yep. And then we're going to be doing lots of art. So we're going to be using art and writing to find expression and to find these pieces to give them voice and life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And this is you guide. Do people do it on their own as homework? How does that part work?
Well, we're going to have 5 weeks, and every Monday all the content will drop. And then every Tuesday we'll meet and I will guide everybody through the content, and I'm going to be there for them as well in a Facebook support group. So they will get a lot of support from me.
Okay, 5 weeks. So, and they're getting live, they can ask you questions, things like that. Your personal fairy godmother attention.
Yes.
Yes. Beautiful. And how we'll come back more to this, but just for people who are listening just in this moment, how can they find you? We'll have more information on all of it printed out. But yes, just so people can hear.
I'm on Facebook as Moira Casey.
Okay, Moira Casey with a C.
Yes, K and C. So it's just the letter K and the letter C.
Oh, Moira K. Casey. Ooh, that is a fairy godmother name.
Yeah, yeah.
And so getting back to the environment in which this inner child has been shut down for so many of us in our lives.
Yeah.
I want to share a tiny story. I have started to fall into the Chat GPT hole and working with divine feminine and divine masculine and finding those edges of they won't say vulva, but they would write a script for me about grandpa's vas deferens and what is labeled as appropriate or taboo, that kind of thing. And I wanted to put out there, I tampered with it so to say, will you give me a metaphorical poetic script? And so they wouldn't say penis, but they would say grandpa's wise friend, because you mentioned the wise adult. And so I have heard that you do work with men and women. So can you speak to how you incorporate that aspect too, please?
It works the same, whether you're finding your divine parent. If you're a woman, it could be a man. It might not have a sex. If you're a man, it could be a woman. I was working with a man, and his divine adult, his wise adult, was a stag. Was a magnificent stag.
For us Americans, I think she means a big deer with antlers.
Okay, do we not say a stag?
Well, yes, we do, but city folk, I'm not sure necessarily. No, I could be projecting because I'm from Brooklyn, but we'll see.
Okay. Might not know what a stag is. Okay, yes, it's in the Highlands of Scotland. It's a big red deer, masculine deer, and it's got huge horns. So this was a really established one because they start with baby horns and then they cast their horns each year, and then they grow new horns that get bigger and bigger each year. They cast them. Wow. It's quite nice when you're roaming around the countryside and you find an antler.
So that makes sense that this is someone's true power, wise parent.
Absolutely. And there is a rune that is the deer, that is the stag. So I suggested to him that he get a tattoo of this rune. He was not a tattoo man. His wife was away. He went and got a tattoo of this runic image.
You're so wild, Moira. I love it. I love it.
And so then whenever he wanted to access his wise adult, he could just touch his tattoo and connect with that power, that superpower that was his.
Oh, that's so impactful. Okay, so we're all getting a flavor of your willingness to really be with each person, it sounds like. Yes. Of how you can see them and have that deep listening. Can you speak to your role as fairy godmother and that listening space you hold?
it is very individual for each person. But at the same time, you have to be able to see through the words, because it's actually not what somebody says, it's what they don't say. So in everything they say is something they don't say. And what you're really listening for is what I would almost call a weasel word. So the weasel word is the word that the thing they say pivots on. There is a belief tied into the thing they say, and the belief pivots on a word in there. And so you just hear, I just hear that word, and then you've got your question, which is a sort of turnaround question, because you've heard the thing where they're dug in.
Oh, she is. You're not just a fairy godmother. You have paid close attention to how people speak and interact. That is what a gift that you offer to people.
Yes.
Uh,
And you're listening for the need underneath. There's the need underneath, and we can rewrite it. We can rewrite every single story you've ever had. We can create a new one. If we can just create a new one. So I had a client who went out every day. Her mother sent her out every day to play in the woods. And she came home mucky. Of course she came home mucky. She'd been playing in the woods all day. And her mother was furious and made her stand on the step and humphed and hawed. And the girl didn't want to go home. She'd forgotten about life while she was out playing in the woods and having fun and make-believe. And then when she got home, she had to stand on the spot, and she was stripped down and sort of interrogated and told off. And she'd not been allowed home. So we just rewrote the story. So I said, off you go into the woods. Come home. And I said, you're coming home. I said, how are you feeling? She said, feeling really awful. I don't want to come home. I can feel it all in my body. And I said, well, it's okay. And I opened the door and I said, hello. Look at you. You're all dirty. Have you had an amazing day to get so dirty? And she said, yes. And I said, well, come on in then. Let's just take your shoes off here, because we don't want them all over the kitchen. Here's a blanket. Let's wrap you in a blanket. How about you have a glass of milk and a cookie, and we sit at the kitchen table and you just tell me all about it.
Oh. And so your ability to find and bring that playfulness, it creates healing for people.
Yeah. Yeah. She said years later, she said she just always, when she was feeling that same feeling, she just went in and had cookies and milk.
Oh, what a beautiful rewriting of the journey.
Yeah. And it's
Now,
every day. It's in the everyday, Olivia. That's the point. It's not the big things. It's not when the earth hit the moon, or when you climbed the silver ladder to the moon. It's when you came home to your mum. It's when you were frowned on and rejected for just being you, and you didn't understand that she was under pressure. It's the small details of life that we need to rewrite, because that's where the story lives.
That is beautiful. And it makes so much sense, because you are a sex and relationship love coach. Is this inner child class something that also would speak to people who are single or desiring partnership?
Everybody. I think most people are single.
Mm-hmm.
I think most people coming in are single. Some aren't, but most are single.
Mm-hmm.
And some are just getting divorced, and so they want to connect with this part of themselves as they go through divorce, so they can come out and be ready for the next phase.
Because such a crucial pivot transition point in life, and so they can be held by you. That's beautiful.
It seems to me, it's like my belief that we come into the world, and in the first 7 years of our lives, we're programmed. We're controlled by the beliefs around us. And the rest of our life, from 7 onwards, is a journey home to our true self. And we either find it, or we get deeply stuck along the way. And sometimes we can dance a little bit in front of it. And we can soothe our journey through the not self, through the world that is not our true self world, the world that we have been given. So we can do lovely things that can help us cope. Yeah. But we also, if we can and we want to, what we want to do is find our true self that's hidden under those layers. The onion, the heart of the onion, under all the layers of what mother thinks you should be and father thinks you should be, and where you sat in the family order, and what the teachers thought, and the aunt or the other people in your lives. Or even as an adult, when you say to somebody, oh, I don't know what I do, should I do this or should I do that? They go, oh, well, if you do this, then that. But they're only talking about, if I was to do this, then that. And so you have to find your truth. And that's what being alive is. That's what we want. And that's what, to me, is an orgasm.
Yes.
The orgasm is the heart of being you. It's when you live orgasmically, you're living from this place inside you that is so true that it is orgasmic.
Okay, this is a whole new way of living that you're teaching. This is so beautiful.
Yeah.
It sounds like, to whatever degree over the course of life people may have felt distanced from that inner child, this course, no matter if it was big T trauma that distanced them, small t, as you say, every day, this course is really helping everyone come back to that inner child.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Because that's your true self. So if you've ever, even if you've got kids, for example, and you've just sat down and your body's gone, oh, I have 4 kids, so I know this well. And somebody comes through the door. If I say I want 10 minutes, there'll be somebody every 2 minutes, and nobody will understood that I've only had 1.5 minutes.
So well summarized, yes.
And they come through the door and they say, could I ask you this, or could you run me here, or could you do this? And you pick your body up. You know, you have this feeling that you're literally just picking up your tired body and you're off to do that thing. That is hurting your true self. That is you not standing up for your true self, because you need to be able to say, I'm too tired. I'm too tired. You need to be able to say no, and you need to be able to say no kindly, without letting it give offense. And we don't know how to say no, so we go no. And we're so frightened of saying no that it comes out really aggressive or something. We don't know.
Yes, you are speaking to so many of our experiences. Yes.
Yeah, we don't know how to say no. So the simplest way is you go to the chocolate box and you choose your most favorite chocolate. What is your favorite chocolate?
Oh, recently I just had a dark chocolate with coconut and almonds.
Okay. So you had it and it was really delicious. So put it in your hand. Offer it to someone, reach it out to someone and say, no. No. They don't even know you said no because you've offered them a chocolate. What they feel is the offering of chocolate. And they can be difficult because they don't quite hear you properly, because you've said no, but you said no.
What a fun twist. Yes.
So that's how you say no. You say no as if you're offering somebody your favorite chocolate.
Oh, that's beautiful. I have clowned in hospitals, and one of the basic tenets of our training was, when you knock on a door, the idea of a sacred no. And the fact that someone saying no can actually be a gift. And that's exactly what you're describing, but in such a clear, somatic way. Thank you. That's beautiful.
Yeah, because of course it is a gift. They're right, exactly. Because they've closed the energy. They don't want your energy. And so you can hold your energy and give it where it is wanted.
So in terms of people who are in relationship, or you've spoken a lot about more metaphorical parents, is going through this work going to require people tell their spouses and their partners, I'm a new person now, da 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 da, or that they call their mothers and tell them all this that they're realizing? What happens there?
I love that question. It's hysterical. No,
Uh-huh.
no,
Uh-huh.
absolutely not. There wasn't much chocolate in that. No, either.
Yeah, but we both laughed. And so there are all those different flavors and levels. Yeah. Because I think people, there is an innate sense, as you mentioned, fear. We don't know how to say no. We don't know how to change. Sometimes people hold back from taking these steps in their transition points of change with this fear of what will happen to the rest of my life. So, what have you seen happen for clients in the past in this area?
It is a big worry. What will happen to the rest of my life? I mean,
Yeah.
it's, people feel if they access their sexuality, they will become insatiable and insane and crazy. But it isn't actually what happens.
Okay.
Uh, all they do is open themselves up. The thing with any course, and I'm not sure this is spoken enough, you cannot change in 5 weeks.
Hmm.
You can come in and you can meet your inner child. You can discover tools and ways of communicating with them. You can be held while you do that.
Hmm.
But this work is just the beginning. This is a practice that you then have to bring to your life. So you cannot go to your partner and say, I've changed, because you haven't. What you've done is discover a way of living that once you live it will bring change. But you have
Hmm.
to live it. So you are not changed until you are changed. And there is a difference between selfish and enlightened selfish. And
Mhm.
I coach enlightened selfish.
Ooh, tell us more, please.
Well, selfish was the only self word when I was growing up. I am now 60 years old. And when I grew up, there was only selfish. There
Yes.
was, you selfish little so and so, don't do that. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
It was the
For
only,
little boys and for little girls, but often for little girls, yes.
often for little girls. Yes, little girls were not allowed. I mean, selfish was, you were, it was definitely a word that made you feel choked
Hmm.
and as if you
Cut
didn't
off.
belong. Yeah, there was
Hmm.
so much shame in being called selfish, and there was no self-compassion or self-care or self-love. I mean, no other self-word at all. There was a desert of self-words. The only one was selfish, and it was a massive insult.
Wrong way to be. Yes, everything wrong.
Yeah, but it was of its time, and it couldn't have, if if the other self words were supposed to have been then, they would have been. But the
Right.
times have changed. So
Mm.
at that time, when I was growing up, my family reproduces very slowly. So my father was in his late 30s when he had me. His mother had been in her late 40s. No, her late
Wow.
30s. She'd been about 40 when she'd had him. So it had taken 80 years for me to come into being. So you then have really long established old fashioned beliefs coming into raising me. Whereas if you're reproducing every 20 years,
Wow.
you have a different set of people and ideas coming through. So I was really old fashioned raised
Mm. What a
with,
beautiful way of thinking of where we land in the world. Yes, keep going.
yeah, yeah. So selfish was definitely a thing, and also so was that we shaved off bits of ourselves. I mean, I'm obviously into fairy tales, so we cut off our toes and our heels, like in the original Cinderella story, in order to
Mhm.
fit in.
Mhm.
Um, and so we had to shave off parts of ourselves for the good of the whole. So we weren't allowed to be selfish because we weren't operating truly as an individual. And
Mhm.
now it's shifted completely. So instead of giving ourselves up for the family, the actual way now is enlightened selfish. So we actually establish who we are. We fill our own cup. And we, as women, have lived through this, women our age, women, slightly older women, let's say from 45 up, we've lived through this transition. We were raised one
Yes,
way.
we've seen it. Yeah,
We've
change.
seen it, we've lived it, and we
Mhm.
now understand that we have to fill our own cups. We have to put our own oxygen mask on first, because we were so badly burnt. We were destroyed because we were told we could have careers and university degrees, and then we married somebody who hadn't been told that women could have all of that, and they still thought they were still 8 steps behind.
Yes.
Well, I've got married, and yeah, I've married an extraordinary woman who can talk about all of this and that with me, but I'm still expecting her to be all the things at home that my mother was, but I
Yes.
also want her to do all of this. So
Yes.
we've been burnt badly, and so
Mhm.
we've kind of like come through this and up and through the burning. We've had to say, I have to fill my own cup because I want to give from a full cup.
Ooh. All right. The way you are framing, one thing I think is so powerful about how you're framing this, and I can tell now this is how you help people view the world, is you're not making anyone wrong for those other older beliefs. You're
Oh,
finding what we can approve of. As you said, that's a very orgasmic way of viewing ourselves in life. You're finding what you can that's right and
yeah,
expanding that part of now filling your cup. So that is just a tiny window into how you, I can tell, help people view the world.
yeah. If we blame, we diminish ourselves when we blame. When we
Mhm.
blame and shame, we've all had enough of it. We have
Mhm.
all had enough of it. Your inner child has had enough of it.
Mhm.
And they might want to lash out, but you can let them have a tantrum and then you let them be. I remember listening. There is a program in the UK. Is it okay if I tell this story?
Yes, I'm excited.
There was a program in the UK called Desert Island Discs, and there was a man, Mr. Timpson, and he has chain shops all over the UK, cutting keys and soling shoes. Very, very,
Ooh.
very well known store, and it was more useful before Timpson's, and he was on this program because he and his wife took in children that had been abused and badly treated by the system. And
Mhm.
his wife taught him. And he said he had these children come in, these 2 children come in, and they had been so suppressed, so repressed, that they went around his house and they smashed all the windows. They were so they couldn't stay still. And he and his wife let them. They said, those windows can be replaced. These boys' souls need this release. They cannot be replaced. And they let these 2 boys run through the house, smashing the windows
And
until
still be loved.
and still be loved. Yeah.
Wow.
He
So just
blew my mind. He blew my mind. I listened to that a long time ago and I was like, you
well,
blew my
even
mind.
just that as a nugget, to have 5 weeks with you of that perspective of the world, of because it takes retraining to not go to blame and not go to shame. So already I'm seeing how 5 weeks with you of just having this perspective is already the beginning of those ripples that you were talking about coming
Yeah.
through. So we're almost time to wrap up, but one thing that was really powerful of what you said was that honesty of there's not a problem that we're fixing in 5 weeks. And this energy of really, when people say yes to a course, sometimes the most transformation happens. And I think that's really powerful for people to hear if they're considering this course, that even saying yes is peeling away layers.
Yes.
And then there's the process of going through your inner child course. And then there's the lifetime afterwards. So with that energy out there, are there other things you want to add to people who maybe are considering this course?
I have put a promise in my course. I have, because I understand that this is deep work and the resistance happens before you're in. Generally, when people are with me, they feel that it's kind of possible. They can relax. You know, I take students in, I take extra children in. I have 4 and I take extra children in. And I said to the girl the other day, do you miss your home? I said, it's very difficult to live in somebody else's house. And she said, no, not in your house, it's not. I
It
don't
pretty
want,
much encapsulates your energy. I can see, yes.
I don't want to leave, she said. No, I don't miss anybody, it's great. And
Mhm.
she said, you make it easy. So what I have is a promise with the course. So it will be there for people to tap into my voice, my audios, my meditations at any point in time. But when I run it again in the spring, they can come back. So if they've come in and they've only managed 1 or 2 weeks, or just to come to the lives to be with me, and they just, you know, that's enough for their nervous system, then I would ask them to honor their nervous system. Come back next spring, do it with me live again, go a little bit deeper, come back next autumn, go a little bit deeper. And even if you do the whole thing with me, if you come back and go deeper, you will go deeper. You will uncover layers that you didn't the first time, because that's the nature of it.
Wow, that is quite a promise. What that has me thinking is sometimes people see an offering and they feel pulled to it and they think, well, I'll do it next time. And it sounds like what you're saying is to have it come in so deeply next time, you might as well say yes now.
Yes, because you've got to start. You know,
Mhm,
you have to start. You have to
mhm.
start.
And now, because I am American, can we just be clear on this promise here? Do you mean they can come back and pay again, or what exactly do you mean?
Right, okay, yes, you are very American. No, they just pay this time, and as this is the first time, the price is not as high as it will be if they join next time or the time after, because I don't know, I did a number of inner child courses myself,
Mhm,
and I found that the body mind piece was missing from most of them.
mhm, mhm,
So I have studied extensively, as well as lived experience, deep lived experience. I mean, I've raised 4 children. I spent 6 years in a radical project that Scotland had, changing outcomes for early years and parents.
wow,
I was a guide and a leader in that.
mhm.
Um, so I have not just my own lived experience, but other jobs and things like that as well. And I forgot where I was going. Where was I going, Olivia?
The body mind missing
The
and
body
doing the
mind
course
piece,
over again.
yeah, was missing. And I just feel, if you know, things get stuck in our heads, don't they? I mean, if
Mhm,
the head could have sorted it, it would have.
mhm,
We would all be
mhm.
living in perfect harmony and happiness if we understood things with our minds and then did them. It's only when the body mind connects
Mhm.
that we have the change that we're looking for.
Okay. And so that's part of why taking that tiny first step this fall, this autumn, and starting the course,
It's
letting
awesome.
some of it into your mind, and then over time it trickles down through the body more and more deeply.
Yes, yes.
Oh, I love your Scottish promise. So is there anything else you want people to know? I want them to know that you've inspired me today with your playfulness to have my glitter and my fairy wings. And so I want to put that out there of just being in Moira's presence is magical. And it really is like we are in a little fairy world. So
We
I
are. You
appreciate
are
that.
very gorgeous and glamorous.
Oh, thank you.
Um,
Thank you.
and me and my little Scottish study surrounded by
Oh, we're
books.
so perfectly matched.
I know.
Yes.
I've even got a kind of like a classic armchair behind me.
Yes. Yes. So studiously sexy. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. As a wingback chair, they are very sexy.
Feel them on
Yeah.
all sides.
Yeah.
So this is so fun. And also I think gives a little flavor of every side of you, which is
Yes.
so beautiful and generous of people, because we can tell you're so open. And I think that's really inspiring for people to be in your space. So one more time, will you tell us the name of your course and when people are going to sign up, how long they have, and how it all works?
They haven't got very long left because it filled up really quickly.
Oh, it's so well bragged, so beautiful. People can feel that this is needed right now. This is the time.
Yeah, yeah. It filled up, and I also feel I have a sort of waiting list for the next round. I have
Beautiful.
quite a number of people who've said, "Oh, I want to do this next time," and people message me all the time about the writing and the art and things like that as well,
Mhm.
because I enjoy that a lot. It's called Inner Child Magic, and we start on the 23rd of October, and um, I'm probably going to close the cart on Monday, maybe Tuesday after.
Monday, October 26th. This
Mhm.
is your dare for all of you listeners,
Yeah.
that is the day to check in with your body and feel, is this the right time for me to start this? Do I want to be, as we mentioned from the top, stuck for another 6 months before this is offered again? And for listeners who may be listening right now, we're talking October 2023. So if you are listening to this in the winter, know that this is all true for the spring course as well, but the price is going to keep going up. So this is the time.
Yes.
See, you can all tell I'm American. And so Inner Child, Moira C. Casey, or Moira
Yes.
Casey with the
Yeah.
CASEY on Facebook. And just quickly, you mentioned you do have so many other offerings. People can hear your voice in other ways. Will you let us know about that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm featured. I mean, I've been interviewed on podcasts a lot. I'm a regular on BBC Radio Scotland. Um, I have a fairy tale. I have a fairy tale YouTube channel under Moira Cormac, and yeah, because I wrote a fairy tale. I wrote a fairy tale called The Witch of Land and Sea, so published book.
How do
So
you spell Landon?
hmm?
How do you spell Landon?
Land, The Witch of
Oh,
Land.
land and sea.
Land and Sea.
Oh, yes, yes. Okay, thank you. And just for others who are listening, Moira is Moira.
Yes.
And so you can find all of her thingies, her beautiful, juicy gifts in the world there. And Inner Child Magic, thank you so much, Moira, for sharing and letting more people hear about what you do.
Oh, well, thank you so very much for inviting me. So magically out of the blue with all your glamour and smiles and beauty. So it's been wonderful to be able to look at you for the last hour.
Yes. Oh, how beautiful to hear the gratitude. And thank you for saying yes. We are really honored to have met this way. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.